Welcome back to Game 3 between Giants and Wind and Rain. Giants are just one win away from securing their spot in the promotion tournament. They have chosen the blue side stress. Once again, seems to be a winning formula for them. Is there anything Wind and Rain can do to stop the Giants in their tracks?
Right now, it's a bit of an odd one because Giants pull out these different picks and pick some scaling sense and then just grab themselves a misfortune that crushes through the lane. I maybe leave open Caitlyn and Kalista and say, okay, you have one, we'll have the other. And then just try and play that matchup out, try and play it that way. See how it goes in the bottom lane.
Giants
looking making ice with Giants over there?
Yeah, they're looking pretty comfortable. In all honesty, Jactroll giving me the ice.
Ogling the Giants over there.
Exactly.
Wow,
hey,
just not even focused on this.
Like things attract, okay? I look at Giants, I'm like, oh, they're like me. It's fine enough. Because I'm big.
Yeah,
there was nowhere to go with it.
No,
I left you out on a limb.
Well, I guess the only way from here is up, realistically. And for the Giants, that means they'll be ascending to some pretty high heights if that's where they're going. A third win here in this series would put them in the promotion tournament, and they would be likely to go up against either NIP or Mysterious Monkeys. Now, of course, Mysterious Monkeys still have an easier time avoiding the promotion tournament in the LCS. NIP, I believe, with a perfect record for the rest of the split, up against a lot of strong teams like G2 and Fnatic. Unlikely to avoid their promotion tournament fate.
I think the same could be said about Mysterious Monkeys, really. They have been improving, but they're still not beating the teams they need to beat to be able to get away from it. Vitality do have a tough set of games to go as well, so that's going to be an interesting little battle between the two teams.
Yeah, it's an unlikely jump that will happen, and that's why we say that it's most likely NIP and Mysterious Monkeys. Of course, that means we would need a fourth team for the promotion tournament. Of course, it'll be decided next week between Schalke and Team RB, but if things continue as they have done, Giants very likely to take that spot because the last two games have been dominant performances.
They are just looking incredibly strong on patch 7.14 as we are today, and we're going to get into picks and bans once again. Wind and Rain, backs against the wall, you have to say. They will get rid of the Zac. They've decided they do not want to deal with Gilius on that blob anymore.
Yeah, I like it. I think that's a good decision here. Now just leave the AD carries open. Or at least leave one AD carry open and give them a hard decision to make. Maybe leave the Caitlyn and just say, okay. Although Giants will likely first pick it. Minitroupax isn't... I mean, he's played 4 games of Caitlyn, so it's not like he's going to pass it up.
It's very comfortable on a bunch of different AD carries as we have seen on the MF last. Wind and Rain with the final ban here will put it towards the Caitlyn, which means Thresh is open for the Giants if they want to pick that one up early on. Doesn't quite have the same priority as it used to do, and Cho'Gath left open by Giants.
Now that gives them basically a winning top lane. Cho doesn't have too many bad matchups. Na can do okay into Cho, but we have seen it lose. We have seen it lose quite frequently because the sustain that Cho'Gath has is enough to get him later into the game. The only real way you can actually beat a Cho successfully is camp it in the early game, as we saw happen to the Unicorns of Love, ironically, by Mysterious Monkeys this past week. Chachi had some pretty bad games when he got camped.
We'll have to see if Giants and Wind and Rain have been watching the LCS. Wind and Rain will lock in the Thresh and the Kog'Maw for themselves, and it's once again a Braum for Jactroll for Giants.
I hope they have been watching the LCS, or at least LCK. You can watch LCK.
NA LCS technically is better than EU LCS.
Well, we said LCS, we didn't specify which.
It's implied.
I want to see Rift Rivals Challenger Edition. I want to see Delta Fox versus Giants. That would be a great one.
That would be a superb game. It is going to be the Orianna lock here for jizuke. He was hovering over the Echo and the Kayn for a little time there. Decided against them instead. We'll pick up the Orianna once again. He was very comfortable on that against Larssen in the last game.
And we know Larssen likes scaling mid laners, so will he go for the Syndra, which would be away from what we've anticipated, but that in line with game 2? Or will it be the Corki? Scales. This is a pick and a matchup we've seen quite often. Orianna does tend to have the earlier game advantage.
Larssen's like this Corki throughout the split as well. Very safe, very good at farming, something he enjoys doing. And I really want to see him being able to actually impact the map a little bit more. Wind and Rain decide they do not want to face up against another AD carry that Minitroupax has proved himself on, and it is a misfortune ban.
Watch him Draven. They hovered it a lot in the last game. Watch him just Draven instead.
Wait, has that been in picks to watch?
No.
Okay, I'm happy with the Draven pick then. I'm happy with the Draven pick. As long as Vedius hasn't called it. Rek'Sai is the ban, and a Jhin ban as well from Wyndham.
I like the Jhin ban here, the other lethality pick that we've seen Minitroupax playing. Rek'Sai, I like you take it away because now it doesn't give them that option to go topside. However, Elise is still available, as was the Maokai, but not anymore. So Window may go Elise here. It's not a Dan pick, so he'll probably go Sejuani instead, or a Gragas. Gragas would do the same type of thing, allowing you to get up into the top lane.
Or a Nunu.
No, that would do the opposite of what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm not
happen.
Dan likes Nunu.
I know, but Sejuani at least can get into the lane.
With a Kog'Maw.
No, you need to,
with a Corki. Okay, it's going to be the Sejuani.
You need to pressure the Cho early. You got to push the Cho to its limits in the early game. Sejuani at least can Q flash into the lane. Try and get a kill.
Nunu can Q flash into the lane as well. It just doesn't have the same impact. Giants now looking towards their jungler and their AD carry. Probably could be a Cho'Gath jungle. That is not out of the realm of possibilities.
It is going to be. Well, it still could be a Jarvan in the jungle. Unlikely, but we have seen it a couple of times. In NIP been trying it. There's a couple of games of LCK they've had Jarvan jungle. And I'm wanting a lethality AD carry, but this Varus would make a whole lot of sense. It's good lane presence, it's good push power, good team fight because it has the ultimate. You have the ultimate to catch people down. So Giants, well-rounded composition once again. Good amount of frontline damage, team fighting coming through. Wind and Rain have a scaling composition, and if you pick the Renekton, that is early game presence, but I personally, not the biggest fan of Renekton right now because I feel like he easily gets counted by 900 gold's worth of investment into a Bramble Vest out of Jarvan. But still, look, you camp it, we said. Camp the Cho. Camp it top lane. Cho doesn't want to build Bramble Vest. He wants to go right to Righteous Glory.
And it looks like it is going to be Cho top as well. They did have the opportunity to switch that Jarvan into the top lane, and they seem to have decided against it, at least for now. I believe it's 30 seconds they have to...
20 seconds
20, okay. So we'll
the
count down.
LCS one.
5, 4, 3,
Normally
2,
does this one, right?
1. And it's Jarvan jungle.
Yeah,
so that is not something we commonly see, Stress.
We've seen it a couple of times. The reason it is, especially playing up against the likes of a Sejuani, who can't really fight a Jarvan. Jarvan still has the good entry points into lanes using the EQ combination, has decent clear early game, has fantastic team fight using the Cataclysm. Jarvan dropped out of the meta because a lot of the armor got taken away in his early clear, so he ended up dropping lower in health, which means people could fight him easier. But look, Giants, team fight setup from this Jarvan in the jungle, Wind and Rain, scaling, some sense of 1-3-1 when you look at like a Renekton plus a Corki. I wonder whether it's going to get contained by Giants. If Giants can force those fights and pull the 1-3-1 into the middle lane, that may disrupt Wind and Rain.
A problem with 1-3-1 as well is if you're not even, or if you're not able to get into those single lanes and be able to beat out your lane opponents, you can very much struggle. And although Giants do not have the best in terms of answering lanes, they have been showing us consistently that they can get ahead. On to Summoner's Rift for what could be the final game of this best-of-5 series. Giants so close to the LCS once more. They just have to get through this game and then a few more series in a couple of weeks' time.
It's a long road through that double elimination bracket as well. Means it's not one win and you're in anymore.
2 wins.
2 wins. 2 best-of-5 wins.
There is a good precedent for Challenger Series teams, though, because both Fnatic Academy and Misfits Academy were able to make it through. Although perhaps not a good precedent for Giants, as they were the team that were knocked out.
But did you know, right, going into that last promotion tournament, Giants had such a reputation to uphold. They were touting the fact that they were undefeated in promotion tournament matches. Unfortunately, then they got defeated twice. We'll see whether they can even up some of those numbers again.
Try and bring those stats back in their favor. It's a pretty slow start, as you would expect. No one actually going for any deep vision control like we saw Giants do in game 1 or War try and answer with. Giants, I'm interested to see if they do the super buff start here, or the super leash. Looks like Gilius is not going to do it. Instead, he'll just go straight for his red, as jizuke kept eyes on the Razorbeaks.
Yeah, just making sure that Wind and Rain weren't looking to interrupt. We've seen like Corki can move in and just kind of queue and help. This is a significant leash that is being given over to Dan. Of course, Sejuani has okay clear. Most of the clear is emphasized once that Bami's Cinder actually gets built. But Gilius is on the move. He's got the EQ. He knows that since there was no invade on the bottom side, it's moderately likely that Dan has started on the top side. They saw the positioning of Corki coming back into the lane as well, so they have a read on this.
And it looks like Dan doesn't realize it as well because he's pathing down towards the bottom side here. If he doesn't get a blue buff on Sejuani, it actually scuppers your clear a lot because you are very mana reliant.
Oh, Gilius could come outside. Woolite still only level 1.
Jactroll flashes in, the exhaust comes out as well, and Woolite stunned up. First blood to Giants, the first time in the series, and perhaps a good omen for them in this game 3.
Oh, that couldn't have gone much better for Gilius. He gets the help on the red buff, goes into the enemy blue, takes it away, arrives in the bottom lane. Wind and Rain not respecting the fact that Gilius could have been there, and Gilius, he was there, able to get double buffs. He's now looking for a flash from the mid laner as well. Gilius still has his flash available. Larssen has to play this carefully. No stun lands. Or nothing to land. I was going to say, it's not Cinder, so...
Having the Valkyrie at level 2 does help Larssen get away, just playing as safe as possible. But once again, let's see this gank.
AOD only has the flash here available to try and save Woolite. This is early on in the game, and this is what you can do on the Jarvan. You have that EQ, you go into the enemy blue buff, it's available again when you get back, and then suddenly you end up getting first blood.
Trading in the top lane as Ruin pushes Arin back, and Gilius is
so
all the way up here. Hasn't even done his own top jungle yet. There's still a blue, there's still wolves, there's still a Gromp. He's taking away the blue buff, he's taking away the Krugs, and perhaps he's going to take Arin's life.
Look at this, Ruin is already back up to full health. Gilius doesn't need to do this dive, but they're going to just push away from the tower. It's smart of Arin to back away. He would have ended up dying because he was half health, but look, Gilius doesn't overcommit either. He has taken the entire topside jungle, or what was left, just the Krugs basically, and now just retreats back into his own. He's going to be able to take his own blue buff. Larssen in trouble in the middle lane as well. This is all falling apart from Wind and Rain.
Once again, Larssen struggling a lot into jizuke. This was a matchup that I thought before the series War perhaps had a shot in, had a chance in, but Larssen has not been able to step up to the Italian god. Hook is going to land onto Minitroupax, but he is fine and dandy in that bottom lane. In fact, he's gone for a cull off that first back, so just wants to farm himself up on the Varus.
Yeah, he only got the assist gold, so he's like, fine, I'll just make myself a little faster into the game with that cull. Of course, when it stacks up, you just sell it, get a bunch of gold after the completed payout. Gilius still hasn't recalled yet on his own Braum, took his blue buff. Gonna end up taking the wolves. I want to see how much, I'm gonna actually look at how much gold he's got. 1,350 currently. That's as much gold as Dan has had in the entire game.
That's, yeah, he's about 500 gold ahead.
Yeah,
having
we're
that
early on. It's not that impressive, I guess.
War lost their 100% record at 10 minutes earlier on in the last game, so I'm not counting any gold leads for them as an advantage. However, Giants have shown us that with a gold lead, they are able to push War back further and further, and that is exactly what I expect Gilius to do. He has shown how strong he can be on these utility junglers, how powerful his rotations and his map movement is against these teams that just don't quite know how to react. Dan is going to come towards mid, just running towards jizuke.
Yeah, jizuke just stands there as well, trying to hold this wave off the tower, doesn't want it disrupted, also just wants to trade the damage back. Jizuke is planning on leaving soon, so you can see he's just going to drag it away, try and pull as much of the wave as he can so that it doesn't crash into his tower.
But that's confidence right there, and AOD is actually going to get jumped on, has to flash. When a mid laner can step up that far against a jungler and a mid from the enemy team who have both got all their sums, and just say, okay, well, I'm safe.
Oh, Larssen.
Has got flash, has got Valkyrie.
Does, has a Valkyrie, but look.
Oh, still gets knocked up. Jizuke's not 6 yet, but Larssen's just going to get chased away. Didn't flash until very late. Does get himself to safety.
And look, this is why jizuke moved forward in the lane, is because he knows Larssen is about to teleport back in, running that teleport on Corki, a little bit unorthodox, but still fine. Knows he's going to TP into the wave, and that means if... Oh, jizuke!
Does he get it? Does he get it?
He doesn't get it! He didn't get it!
I didn't get it! That was the best bit of casting I've done in my life.
Fantastic.
Ghost and flash burn from jizuke. He just wasn't able to get the damage. Here comes Gilius. The flag's not enough. Larssen is stopped. Dan's going to chase him down. We'll be able to get that stun off as well with the permafrost. And Gilius is in a sticky situation, but Dan is low on mana, has no cooldowns, and cannot chase any further.
That whole sequence was hilarious. So,
a bit Benny Hill.
jizuke pulls the wave forward so that the TP doesn't happen when it's under the tower. That way he can deny any tower damage from Larssen. Now in comes the engage on the bottom side because they know Gilius is still quite low. Bot lane is able to roam out of the lane. But look, Minitroupax, once again, CS lead. Comes from the fact they killed Woolite for first blood. Only one kill so far in this game, but Giants are significantly further ahead than we've seen this point in previous games.
Yeah, 1,000 gold already, and it doesn't look like it's stopping. You've got a Cho'gath who's now level 6, has yet to back. We'll be able to build up towards what we expect to be a righteous glory in the top lane. You've got Gilius who's ahead. Your mid lane's ahead by 13 farm as well. Giants looking very much like they're going to be in that promotion series after this game.
Yeah, Ruin already has... He doesn't. Huh. Ruin, did he feast Aaron at some point in this laning phase? Because
Perhaps.
he used feast, but doesn't have a stack. And I think it actually, he feasted a minion, but it didn't kill the minion because it was on the lower cooldown. That's unfortunate.
It is unfortunate. I have done it myself as Cho'gath in the past. Sometimes it's on like 1,100 HP, and you're like, oh, those plus numbers
I'm gonna find out.
definitely would have added up to it. Actually going back all the time.
I'm actually going back in time on my screen.
While you do that, let me talk a little bit about this Wind and Rain roster, because we've been bigging up Giants, saying they've been dominant, which they have been, and we've seen in the last couple of games just how strong this Giants roster are. Wind and Rain, a very new lineup, have been challenging in the Challenger Series. They've been looked good at times. The Cataclysm comes down, and Gilius will be able to get away as Ruin teleports in.
Yeah, of course, in the craziness of the game, it wasn't used on a minion. There is no low cooldown anymore, of course. He actually just used it on Aaron as he pushed forward.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it was nothing more than that. This game has been a bit of a crazy one. We've had these mid dives and seen the attempted play out of Larssen to try and teleport back into the lane, but picture in picture.
Yeah, we got a picture of Cho'gath recalling.
Yeah. I suppose we did. Teleports back into the lane. I think that was the key thing here, as he ended up back in the top side, as Aaron still has his teleport available. It's all going a bit crazy here at the caster desk for a second. Let's take a moment, compose ourselves, medic.
Reset like War need to reset after those last couple of games. They've just been on the back foot for a lot of the time. And I'm sure that Tabasco, their coach, will have given them a little bit of a talking to and said, look, we need to reset, we need to set up for this next game. It's not looking too bad for them as they land a hook onto Minitroupax. He has to flash away. Here comes Dan as well. Glacial Fissure doesn't connect because it's Glacial Prism. He doesn't need to because AOD can get the kill.
Okay, I've been told, I got clarified what it was that we saw in the picture-in-picture, because I was looking at my screen. It was Cho'gath eating a minion.
Oh, did he feast the minion?
He feasted a minion.
Okay.
He has 2 stacks currently. Okay, let's draw a line under this craziness. We're going to move on. Righteous Glory nearly completed by Ruin. But look, Wind and Rain, they picked up a kill. That's what we got to look at now. They're firing back into this game. Looking at the bottom tower as tower first blood in the game. Wind and Rain, add that to the statistics. It was a little past 10 minutes, but they've taken the lead.
Yep. And they get first tower.
Yep.
Which is definitely a benefit. And an Infernal Dragon for themselves as well. It's actually the first time Wind and Rain have got the first tower this series. At the 10-minute mark, they will look for this dragon as well. And Gilius, with that good early start with the early kill, hasn't been able to make as much of it as he would like. Tries to jump onto Dan, but he'll take a lantern away. And Wind and Rain looking a lot more promising early on in this game.
Now we have to look towards Gilius. He had a great series of games on Zac to try and start fights. He's obviously on the Jarvan. A little bit ahead from that early start. Got the first blood, had the great path around the jungle to start the game out. But now, back to the middle lane, we see the damage come through.
Shockwave onto Larssen, trying to force him away from the farm. Will be okay for the time being. Does have the teleport, as we've said, to get back into that lane if he needs to. However, he is 15 farm behind. And Gilius is going to jump straight onto AOD. He's going to try and get across the wall. Concussive blows does not connect. Gilius flashes in with a Cataclysm hooked up. Dan's there as well as Woolite, and Gilius will get a kill. But how much is he going to pay for? He loses his own life as well. Teleport actually comes in from Larssen towards the bottom side of the map. And not going to get too much out of that. Lose a tower in the bottom side. Jactroll still getting chased away. Glacial Fissure knocks them up. Glacial Prism answers the stun onto Jactroll. Flash, stand beside me. Chain of Corruption. And War are continuing to chase in this bottom side, but Minitroupax and Jactroll have got underneath that missing tower now. It was obviously taken just a minute ago. Jactroll eventually will fall. War get themselves a kill, but it was a long, long chase to do so.
Long chase. jizuke was trying to get on down to the bottom side as well, but look, he just pushed the wave out, got a CS advantage, at least compounded on it. And this all started from the engage on AOD. Gilius went in with Jactroll, was able to get the kill, but had to burn a whole lot for it. Really overextends. You can see Jactroll trying to stick around. Are we gonna watch the whole chase? Okay. Is this... I can't tell whether that was like off key and the wrong thing for copyright reasons, so that we don't get sued by whoever owns that. Obviously. Okay. That's fine.
You doubt my musical integrity, Stress?
No, not at all.
I would if you ever heard me sing. At the moment, Giants are trying to sing a Song of Turrets as they look for their second of the game. Ruin used Feast on a minion once again. You want to be building up that HP as quickly as you can on Cho'gath. Something perhaps a lot of players don't realize is you do just want to feast on cooldown if you can to get as many stacks as possible.
Yeah, of course you don't end up losing them on death. That was a change that happened a while back. You can only get 6 from minions. You can stack max health and the attack range increase up to 10 times, but the damage on E, the scaling based on feast stacks, that's infinite.
It's 0.5%
per stack. That's I went into practice tool, killed like 20 dragons, and it was at like 20% health on every time you use E.
And you get 3 of them.
Woohoo!
And it's maximum HP as well. It's not missing or current.
And the size of it, the projectile, scales with your size. So it's great. You just like chunk the lane width for 20% of their health after every auto attack. Now that's an unrealistic perception of how much. Cho still does a lot of damage. We had a Cho do over 1,000 damage per minute in the LCS during yesterday's show, which was insane.
It's pretty beefy. Usually numbers reserved for AD carries.
Yeah, that's like Varus mid territory or Jin territory that is so unbelievably fed. Be interested to see what Minitroupax did in the previous game on the Misfortune.
Definitely did a lot. I didn't catch the numbers myself. Glacial Prism into Hook once again. Gilius overextends, perhaps gonna die for the second time in this game. Both he, Minitroupax, and Jactroll have ruined that unkilled record that Giants had. Only jizuke unkilled throughout the series, and definitely not Woolite as he's caught out. Not sure what you were doing there, just trying to get some vision control, but Giants reacted well.
Yeah, it looked like he was trying maybe to start just the Rift Scuttler and defend against the Rift Herald play, but you can see how far away AOD was. Wasn't even in range to use that Lantern to keep him alive. And now Giants settle themselves. It's got a little bit of a loose game. Everything's gone a bit crazy. I think Giants, this is kind of common when teams go 2-0 up in a best of 3. You see teams go, okay, we've won, like let's just win the game now and keep just pushing. Gilius going aggressive into the enemy jungle. Didn't have vision on Renekton or Corki. Corki moved through the middle lane, ended up going over a couple of wards, but you can see how quickly they deal with Gilius, but then Woolite clearing a ward.
Yeah,
clearing Rift Scuttler and clearing a ward.
A little bit greedy from Woolite. And just coming back to that Gilius point, we've said he's kind of the member of this team that we wanted to show his experience the most. It feels like he's playing a little bit naively this game, being a little bit too aggressive on the Jarvan, stepping up a little bit too far and allowing War to get these kills, because at the moment it's only a 1,000 gold lead between the two teams. In previous games it's been much more than that, and War do have the opportunity to get to a later portion of the game. They've got double AD carry, they've got a Renekton as well, they have the tank line they need in the Sejuani. War not looking too shabby in this third game. It's not all done and dusted yet.
Yeah, they looked a lot better. They got vision control top side as well, looking to try and play for this top lane tower, but for now, the rest of Giants are kind of content to clear out the waves. They know there's a CS lead in the middle lane. No, there's a CS lead for their AD carry as well. That's where the gold lead is coming from Giants, plus that extra tower that they have. You mentioned the double AD carry. Now that, of course, will have this big later game impact, but I feel like once again, Aaron has been controlled for this entire game. The Cho'gath is a difficult lane matchup. Ruin has done a good job and hasn't been overextending. There was no camping topside this time around for Wind and Rain.
Here comes the second Infernal Drake of the game as well. War trying to get vision around it. They're going to jump onto Jactroll. The stun doesn't connect from the Glacial Prison. They need one more auto attack for the Permafrost. And Jactroll is caught out. A great hook from AOD. The engage, though, from Gilius off towards the side. The Shockwave flashed away by Woolite, but Woolite's right in the front line. He's feasted on by Cho'Gath. Void against Void, and Cho'Gath wins is the story of that battle. War getting forced back. Minitroupax now caught out by 3 members. The hook connects. Minitroupax has flash, has heal, will trade, will flash.
He's out.
Minitroupax, you beauty, gets himself out of the fight, and Ruin is here to play clean-up duty because jizuke and Gilius are on the way. There's no tower, and perhaps there's no hope for War. Again, AOD with a great hook stops the kill onto Dan, but Giants will get 4.
Giants with the turnaround on the team fight. Rhymes, crimes, and everything happened in that fight. Medic, Wind and Rain completely on the back foot. They thought they had Minitroupax dead to rights, and he just trades the damage out, kills Woolite, flashes over the wall, and comes back around for the rest of the second half of the fight. So we can take a look at how this all starts with Wind and Rain trying to group towards the dragon, not really anticipating Jactroll to be there. They'd say, okay, we can actually take him. The Sejuani ultimate misses. Flash is used all the time by Wind and Rain, and of course they have to flash the shockwave that comes through, which is good. They avoid the damage. Larssen doesn't get caught, but he's low on mana, cannot get subsequent phosphorus bombs or rockets out to try and proc this Trinity Force again and again, and that's why Wind and Rain, at this point, AOD and Dan are like, we can kill him, we can get Minitroupax, but look, there's no extra Triforce procs, no damage. The kill comes through from Minitroupax, no crowd control remains, over the wall he goes, Ruin comes back through into the fight, and from there, Giants easily clean up the remaining kill.
AOD did land a couple of good hooks.
He did.
His Thresh has been good this game. You have to give him credit. One of the few standout performers for the team, but War just seemed to over-engage. They did what Gilius has been doing for the rest of the game, stepping too far forward, trying to make too much of a play, and now Giants will go for the Rift Herald. It will be their 3rd of the series if they can get it. Jactroll and Minitroupax going to force Wind and Rain away, and Giants once again with objective priority, securing themselves another one, and give themselves a 3,000 gold lead.
But how much will that Rift Herald now open up further of the lead? Where is it going to end up going? Gilius is the one with it in his trinket slot, but he's headed back into his jungle. Only 1 minute until Baron spawns, so you can imagine that a big play in favor of Giants again is going to result in a Rift Herald Baron push.
Especially with a Cho'Gath, especially with a Varus, who can put down a lot of damage on that Baron. You've got to play the Ruin King. Runan's Hurricane finished on Minitroupax. He's shown us how strong he can be on a variety of AD carries.
You like wave clear? Cho does it quite well.
I love the way that Cho kills minions, though, because either he impales them on spikes or he just shouts at them. It's just like, yeah, cool. I'm just going to shout very loud decibels towards you, and eventually your eardrums will burst and you will die.
Feral scream. Yeah, just yells at them. What do you think would be the hearing tolerance of a minion?
Oh, dearie me.
Because like you must know this to some extent for a human, right?
I do, but
well,
we're going to have a look at jizuke get jumped on. The shockwave comes out. Larssen went aggressive and he almost goes down. Armin didn't even have time to join the fight. jizuke is looking for this. He wants it.
Ruin wants this as well. Look, he's running in here. Righteous Glory may very well get popped, but he can't quite close that distance in time.
Okay, so if we take Jarvan as your typical human being.
Okay.
He's probably slightly taller. He's got a decibel hearing of about 100 decibels for long-term damage if you listen at sustained periods of time. 160 is about a jet engine, and that would take you out very quickly. At the moment, Ruin is the one who might be taken out by Wind and Rain. He won't be able to get away. No Gargoyle Stoneplate for him, and they get a tower in the mid lane. Minions, about a third of that side will say stress, so I'm going to say between 60 to 100 decibels would be a hearing tolerance threshold of pain for a minion.
Well, there wasn't much tolerance of pain on here for Ruin. He tried to survive through, but unfortunately, I mean, the tower went in favor of Wind and Rain first, in favor of Giants first, right? So they are able to get the objective, but here's the hook on the middle lane. No real follow-up.
Uses the package once again just to try and push out waves, and something we haven't really seen from Larssen that we saw more from him in the Challenger split was his ability to roam the map, his ability to get into other lanes and actually influence them. He's been hampered by jizuke, who's constantly pushing the lane up, has a 40 farm lead Ruin's actually gone towards an Abyssal Mask second item here as well, just to make himself even tankier into this Corki.
Yeah, also is going to cause the enemy champions nearby to take that extra damage. Of course, Varus, a good decent of mixed damage, some magic damage mixed in there as well. The Orianna comes through with a shockwave, more magic damage to amplify. You can see how far ahead Giants are in this game. Significant gold leads, 1,000, 1,500 on just about every single player.
Not as gargantuan a lead as they have had in previous games, but at the 22-minute mark, they are 5,000 gold ahead, which is nothing to be sniffed at all. And they are just continuing to pressure War off the map. War, we say they scale, we say they like to play these late-game team fights, but Giants are just not allowing them to ever get to a point where they can have a late-game team fight. Even if it gets to a 5v5, Giants are so far ahead that it's essentially a 6v5.
And Giants keep killing Woolite is half of the problem. Is when you pick a Kog'maw and you say, okay, we're going to have you be the carry and we're going to put a lot on this Kog'Maw, and then you've got 3 deaths already. And that is just happening time and time again. Against an engaged composition, there's not a whole lot of options for Wind and Rain. Now they get pushed back away. Here comes the Cataclysm.
Teleport's coming in as well from Giants. They want the fight. They want the big team battle. AOD's dead. Teleport behind by Arwen. Pops the Dominus. But look at that. Larssen's dead. He's nommed down by Ruin. Arwen getting chased off towards the side, as well as Gilius is not going to give up on this Renekton. He wants a bit of Crocodile alongside the rest of the kills they have got. Arwen tries to flash away, but does not get over the wall, gets knocked up, gets taken out. Ruin 3-1-3 on a Cho'gath and a Baron in their sights.
The saying is never smile at a crocodile, but Giants are beaming from ear to ear as they close in on the Baron. Aaron's Renekton wasn't enough. Giants, for the 3rd game in a row, are going to be taking a quick Baron early on. They're going to be able to secure this. It is going to be enough for them to take this series. It is just a matter of time.
Now 7,000 gold ahead, and Woolite has overstayed here. The flash in from Jactroll, the exhaust onto Kog'Maw. Here comes jizuke, doesn't quite connect. AOD with the lantern gets Dan out. Not quite enough as jizuke gets the final clockwork wind up in to get the kill.
That's a Kog'Maw with no flash.
They know he's there. He's looking for the execute. Will he be able to dodge, dip, duck, dive, dodge and dive away from this? The answer's no. Ruin puts a rupture down, says hello to the butterfly, shows him what a true metamorphosis looks like.
Empowered recalls come through. Evolution seemingly didn't work out too well for Wind and Rain right now.
We're like much more like a Metapod than a Butterfree. Needs to be able to use Harden a few more times if he's going to survive these fights.
Well, right now it's more like Giants be drilling into the base of Wind and Rain the further this one goes on. This was the fight that really solidified the loss here, because look, Giants easily take out the Corki. The damage is done. From there, Aaron tries to run away, but does not have enough left in the tank to get away from the fight completely. Turns for the Baron. Giants, 3-0 is what this looks like it's about to be.
You have to remember, Aaron came in as a sub as well. JWoww was the standard top laner for War. At times, it looked like Aaron and Dan had a bit more synergy than JWoww had with his jungler, but time and time again, Aaron just hasn't had the impact on these carries. Like last game on the Shen really didn't do as much as he would have liked to with those Stand Uniteds. They were never making the aggressive plays that you would make if your team had perhaps slightly more synergy, and that's exactly what we see from Giants.
And I think that's a difficult thing, right, is Aaron has to fit into the lineup. JWoww was listed still as a substitute, and while I think Aaron has done a fine performance, part of me wanted to see, oh, this was perhaps a kill that happened earlier in the replay. I kind of wanted to see JWoww play Jax. When he was on TCM in the old days, back in 2013, he would play Kha'Zix and Jax, and I was like, this guy is such a fun player, I want to watch him. But I think Aaron has had the unfortunate job of having to slot into a lineup that is already going to struggle against this Giants lineup, and it's no individual thing. Aaron has actually been ahead in the majority of the games because of the way Dan played around him, but Wind and Rain have lost the rest of the map. They got ahead in the top side, but lost the rest of the map, and Giants just grouped very effectively into team fights that worked in their favor.
And with the Baron still having a minute remaining on it, they're looking for more towers out of this. Actually going for a 1-1-3 split. Minitroupax, Jactroll, and Gilius are down towards the bottom side. Dan trying to push them back, unable to do so for the time being. It is a 9,000 gold lead, 26 minutes in. The last game ended at the 25-minute mark, the first one around the 30. Giants don't want to prolong this any longer. They are going for that mid lane inhibitor tower. They all group up. Gilius gets hooked in. The Glacial Prism comes out, but Ruins join the party. The knock-up onto Woolite. The Cataclysm comes down as well. Already down. Survived. Armin's dead as well. Woolite survived, but is that going to be enough to keep war in this game? Giants take another inhibitor. They're going towards the top lane.
15 seconds left on this Baron buff means that they can crush down this top tower, this top inhibitor, have 2 inhibitors down and likely push in for the win. Look how tanky Ruin is. He's got the Stone Plate, hasn't even activated it yet.
He feasts Larssen for half his health. There's the Stone Plate as well. Feral Scream off towards the wall to make sure that there are no people watching. The walls have eyes and ears, apparently.
All right, George Orwell. We don't need anything more from that. But look, Wind and Rain, again, we're back to the same situation that it felt like in game 1, where it's one last fight. Otherwise, their hopes of a promotion tournament spot go down the drain. Wind and Rain couldn't hang on through this team fight. Again, it's just crushing through the mid lane, and Giants 4-0-6 on jizuke, 3-1-8 on this Varus for Minitroupax, and they have looked spectacular in all 3 games.
That they have, and I think you have to start talking about NIP and Mysterious Monkeys. As much as those might not be, they're not 100% guaranteed to be the teams that Giants will be facing up against. The clinical and clean play here from Giants has actually really impressed me. I wondered if they'd be able to do what they did in Challenger Series on the LCS stage. I wondered if after losing to Schalke last week, they would have taken a hit in terms of their macro, but they are looking incredibly clean. And although Mysterious Monkeys and NIP perhaps are another step up from Wind and Rain, I think Giants have a very big shot of getting back into the LCS.
With performances like this, it's hard to disagree with that. Look, now Giants just going to do their due diligence, clear out the last few wards, and push into the base. No Baron buff, but they don't need it. They're 12,000 gold in the lead. They should be able to walk through one last fight.
Ruins now completed his 4th item as well, a locket of the Iron Solari. Without the Stone Plate, that is a 701 HP shield for everyone it connects on. That is a huge help for your team. Ruins on the back line, pops the Gargos down there as well. Nom down onto Armin. It's a tasty crocodile for Ruin to eat. Another kill comes out. Giants look unstoppable. They have not been challenged at all by Wind and Rain. They're looking to take a 3-0 series as they pound on the Nexus towers. And that is it. Giants take another step down the road to the LCS. 3-0 over Wind and Rain, who were blown away today.
Giants saw dark clouds on the horizon, but they weren't scared of it. They're storm chasers. They find the eye of the storm, and the sun now shines upon the land the Giants watch over. I mean, 3-0, everything looked beautiful in this series for them. A handful of mistakes across 3 games, but everything went well. Gilius out of the jungle. jizuke and Minitroupax really stepping up as well. Dominant carry performances out of the both of them.
Giants live above the clouds, stress. They do not worry about the wind and rain.
I should have gone for that.
And they are on their way back to the summer promotion tournament.
Wow. That was so good. I didn't think about that.
Like, it helps when you set up the pun in my head, and I have about 15 seconds to think about it while you set up. Wind and Rain struggling today. Commiserations, of course, to them. Their Challenger Series run there, the run in the league ends today at the hands of Giants. But you look at Giants and you think this is a team that very much could challenge for an LCS spot.
Yeah, they look dominant, and I think you have to, as we said, Minitroupax, at the beginning of the day, I was talking about how he kind of almost came out of nowhere, looking very strong, looking like this dominant AD carry, and again, 3 games out of 3 shows up when it counts on the stage, looking for that playoffs win. And Giants, you can't take anything away from this performance. Like, it's hard to fault them at any point. Maybe a little bit of hubris in game 3, chasing kills when the game was still
the only point you
even.
can look at. And I wonder if that's what they'll be saying to themselves afterwards as well, what their coach will be saying. They'll say just that we need to be a little bit more restrained in that game 3, because the next time we get to that game 3, it is for an LCS spot. It is for the big leagues, and we cannot have kills given away to the enemy team, which can spell doom. We've seen many a game swing off a single kill in the LCS stress.
Yeah, we see it all the time happen. Handshakes and hugs coming through from Wind and Rain towards the roster of Giants. And as we continue through the rest of the Challenger playoffs, we have to look at whether the other series is going to be quite as dominant as this. For Wind and Rain, they come through the Challenger Series qualifier. Everybody, talking so much about this young roster ends up on the Origin lineup. Mix of Challenger players now come through with Woolite and the rest of the lineup. Unfortunately, now the Challenger Series for them for summer is over. You have to look at that result. They'll be disappointed for Wind and Rain, but Giants reign supreme with the 3-0 win here, and so much of it from the draft. Good drafts overall. We are just setting up for an interview with some of the members of Giants, some of the victorious Challenger Series players. But we're going to take a little look back at that last fight. I mean, this is the Cho'Gath walking right into a Renekton and feasting him down. Normally it's the AD carries that we see get taken down, but Giants easily able to walk through. At this point, they had like a 13,000 gold lead that ramps up to closer to about 15,000 gold at the end of it. But this, if you miss any of the other games, it's kind of business as usual for the Giants. All the way through Challenger Series, only dropping the one series to Schalke in the last week. And speaking of Schalke, Schalke take on Team RB. Two very, very hyped teams coming up. That's next week, same time of a 5 p.m. start here, Central European summertime. Schalke 04 versus Team RB taking place next Sunday. Looking forward to seeing whether Upset and the rest of Schalke can turn their fortune from last time in the Challenger playoffs. That's it from the Castells. Giants secured the win against Wind and Rain. Let's see what the AD carry Minitroupax has to say after that very impressive series.
Thank you very much, Stress. What a series it was, Minitroupax. You played incredibly well. How are you feeling now after winning 3-0?
I mean, we're feeling really great. We're not like really excited or amazed. We were expecting actually a 3-0, and I think that was what we showed.
Yeah, you guys played incredibly well. I like the way you adapted to the 7-14 meta as well. Some interesting picks there, specifically the Misfortune. Is that something you've played before, or is that just a 7-14 pick?
I mean, I used to play MF before it was cool. I played a lot of MF in Challenger Series qualifier with Kick when the lethality was not that good, but I really enjoyed it. So when I saw the 7.14, I was like, MF is really good, yeah. So when they choose blind pick Kog'Maw, I took it as a disrespect pick, so I just picked MF and snowballed.
Okay, I want to ask you another question about your team compositions generally. Gilius tends to play utility junglers, jizuke tends to play supportive mid laners. Do you guys have another style that we haven't seen yet, or is that all you can do?
I mean, Gilius is well known as the carry jungler, and right now he's playing more like as a tank and supportive jungle, but like it's more like meta-wise. If all tanks are open, he just adapts and he can play them really well, but if they try to ban us out, or if we want to play like a tanky top laner and Galio mid or something, he probably can pull out like a Lee Sin, Kha'Zix, he can pull them all.
Okay, we'll have to see if that happens in the promotion tournament. Talking about that, Mysterious Monkeys and NIP are your probable opponents. Are you worried about them? Do you think you can beat them as well?
I mean, I think they should be the ones worried about us, not us. Like we've been showing really good performance right now, and I think we have really good chances of making it into the LCS.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. It's a few weeks away. Next week, of course, we have the next playoff tournament between Team RB and Schalke 04. That's it from us for now. Congratulations to Giants, of course, on your 3-0. We'll be back next week. Make sure you tune in then.
Guys, this is our moment. It will start now.
No flash, no flash, no flash, no game, no flash. Okay. Go drag.
Play comes down as well. They do get the start off towards the side, but here comes Ruin. Let's bounce. Gilius back. Orin in the midst of them all now. What can War do to hold out? Not much, as Giants just rip through two members. The knockback, the Hemo Plague. A massive fight erupts in the War jungle, and Giants are coming out on top. 1-0 victory over Wind and Rain. Once again, Ruin may have overextended slightly here. Flashes away, but the knockup comes down, and Dan and Orin will get Burst Blood in the top.
Kill this guy. Stacks? Nice. Fuck. Yeah, what the fuck is he doing?
They see me now.
Oh, I melted him! I melted him! Okay. Good job, man.
You don't want to go close.
AOD there as well. I think Woolite wants a little bit of this action. Minitroupax turns back around. Onto the knockback. The cataclysm. Look at that.
Triple kill.
Exactly what you want to see. Minitroupax. They'll go 2-0 up in this series.
I'm fucking good. They're coming. Okay, go flash.
I'm fucking good at this game, boys. Let's kill them.
Teleport's coming in as well from Giants. They want the fight. They want the big team battle. AOD's dead. Teleport behind by Arvin. Pops the dominance. But look at that. Larssen's dead. He's nommed down by Ruin.
I ult him. Okay.
Giants take another step down the road to the LCS. 3-0 over Wind and Rain, who were blown away today.